I have with me a very interesting person, and we have a lot in common. And she's here to talk about your books, your history. She came all the way from Scotland just for us. Sure.
That's right.
Sure you did. So, Alicia Fernandez Miranda, and not to be confused with the Lynn Miranda. Okay. And you've got one book that just fascinated me that I can't wait to talk to you about. But before we start, we have to thank our sponsors. South Florida PBS, probably one of the best resources we have in our community.
PBS.
Me too.
Yeah.
And they sponsor our show week after week. So if you're a member, and I hope you are, you get one of these magazines once a month, and it tells you everything that's going on. And look, they have, remember Dick Van Dyke?
How could I forget?
They have such a great documentary and a bunch of stuff about him that's coming up. I love him. And the other thing they're doing, they have an immersive art experiences. I don't know if you've heard about it, but they have a Pharaoh exhibit right now that you may want to go while you're here.
Oh, that'd be great. We take the kids.
There's a Pharaoh, and then maybe before you leave, I don't know if they'll have the Titanic up, but it's great for the kids too. They'll love it. It's really a learning experience. Yeah. And they actually bring school kids in during the middle of the week for free. That's awesome. They let them go through this exhibit, but it's from Cheops to Ramses Chew.
Oh my God, how cool.
Very educational. Have some interactive stuff. Yeah, so I highly recommend it.
I love that. I'm going to take one of those with me.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. You can take it. I got to find another one.
I'm already stealing. I'll browse through it before we leave.
I'll talk to my friend.
Okay.
But
I do love Dick Van Dyke.
You can make pictures. So let's talk about, I don't even know where to begin, because you started here in Miami.
Yeah.
And your husband too, which is crazy. And you meet in London.
That's right.
So, but from the time you were small, you decided you were going to go to Harvard, which you did.
Yep.
So talk about goal setting.
Oh, man. I was such a goal-oriented kid.
Obviously.
Such a goal-oriented kid. So I have this diary entry from 5th grade where it said, like, when I grow up, I want to. And I just wrote, go to Harvard. That was the extent of my goals. And I don't even know how I knew about Harvard. I grew up here in Florida. Both my parents went to University of Florida. So it wasn't...
You are a Gator?
I'm a Gator.
Parent?
Yeah, I'm a generational Gator. And actually, my dad used to tell me, he was like, your 2 choices for college are Harvard or University of Florida. There's nothing in between the two.
My dad told me my choices for getting it paid was University of Florida or pay for whatever else.
Yeah.
Wherever else you went.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We Gators are.
So I just knew, but I had this kind of goal in my mind. I sort of always wanted to do the thing that was the best. I wanted to be the best at everything. That was like my driving force for many years.
Well, obviously you've succeeded very well.
Well,
so tell me, you've written 2 books so far, right? And they both sound fascinating. But the most current one is what is called Someone's Gotta Give.
Someone's Gotta Give, yes.
And because of my nonprofit background, I'm like fascinated by this. So what made you come up with that?
Well, so I have actually worked for the last 20 years as a philanthropic advisor, which basically means that I help wealthy people and foundations and companies figure out how to give their money away. And so this was a world that I was always fascinated by. I mean, it's like a weird, crazy world. I get to meet all sorts of extraordinary people. I have a picture actually of meeting King Charles back when he was Prince Charles.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
That was
let's see.
That was,
here you go.
Look how happy we both look to be meeting each other.
Right.
But this was at a benefit for a nonprofit that we happened to be working with. And so from the very early days of my career, you're in all of these incredible spaces with these people. And then at the same time, you are, having discussions about poverty and climate change and really significant issues that need solving. And sometimes people are showing up with their private jets to the conference about climate change. And you're like, this world is crazy.
Goodness.
It is perfect.
Where did you
for
miss
a
the
book?
boat?
I know.
Right.
But so just a fascinating world that not a lot of people get to see. And so I've been doing that for basically since I finished graduate school. And that had always been my career. In 2019, I started the adventure that became my first book, which was
What If?
My What If year. And so that was, I just didn't know that philanthropy job was what I wanted to do anymore. And I went out and did internships at all the dream jobs of my childhood.
Oh, is that what the book's about?
Yes.
Because I haven't read the book,
Yes,
obviously.
yes. So it's
I told her
about-
I couldn't. I went to look for the book, and they were.
Let's just say sold out. That's what I like to say. They're so
No.
popular, they're gone.
Well, the new one had only arrived at one library. They're coming, but they
Yeah.
just hadn't gotten them. So
It is pretty new. It's pretty new.
the what if, I didn't even look into the what if, quite frankly.
Well, I'll tell you. So it is my midlife crisis. I
Okay.
decide I don't know if I'm doing anything right anymore. Even I had done all those things. I did the Harvard. I became CEO of my own company. I was living in London, something I always wanted. I had 8-year-old twins at the time and my wonderful husband. And I was like, I don't, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? And so I decided to go take a series of unpaid internships at jobs I had always dreamed about doing when I was a kid and never got a chance to do. And as I was going through this process, I was writing about my experience. And then it turned out I loved writing, which was just like a little bit of a surprise. I hadn't done creative writing since I was in middle school, probably. And that became my first book that came out in 2023.
You had to be writing. The thing is, you had to be writing in your work.
I was doing like business writing. Of course,
I
you're
know.
writing memos and you're writing, things for other people.
But
I hadn't written
you're
anything for
organizing
myself.
thoughts and you're
Yes.
putting them together.
Yes, and I was very into journalism in high school, actually. That's why when I was looking
Me
around here, I
too.
was like, how long was this place around? I can't believe I didn't intern here in high school because
You're right.
I worked
Yeah.
at Ocean Drive magazine, actually, in high school as an intern on the beach.
Oh, because you're on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. This wouldn't have been a
No.
easy
know.
drive for you.
But that was so that actually made me not want to go into journalism. After I interned there, I was like, ooh, magazine journalism is
that was probably
a hard
not
life.
That wasn't a good one for you. Yeah.
So I had written this book. I had this incredible experience when my memoir came out. I got to go on Good Morning America. I went on tour, and I just loved the creative writing process. And so I decided I wanted to try to write a novel. And I just thought, what better world to set a novel in
For sure.
than this crazy world that I know so well that I think people would love to get a peek into.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure we've got some. I could tell you some more experiences that I've had, but yeah, it's a crazy world. And,
I mean, that's the
you're
funny
right.
thing. I feel like people that have worked in it have read the book and said so many of these things feel so real. And also, I have 10 stories I can tell you that are even crazier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, so what prompted you to okay, so you're going on tour, you have little ones at home. Mm-hmm. You've got obviously an amazing husband who...
He's in this room. That's why we're being so nice to him.
No. But you were taking care of the kids while she was on tour?
Yes.
Or...
Yes, with some help, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. You had some help. Okay.
But I'm a modern man.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. So Carlos, they were, so tell us about the story about how you and Carlos met, because this is so fun.
It is a cute story.
And it's probably could do another book on that.
I know.
Have you
I have an
thought about
essay
it?
about it that I wrote.
Did you?
But
that can be the start of your book.
Oh, Carlos, you've made it on the screen.
Oh, good. I love it. I love it.
Carlos and I were introduced by our grandparents, who were neighbors in Cuba and best friends since before the revolution and after. And our dads grew up together in Miami, and our families were always very, very close. But Carlos grew up kind of living abroad. He lived in lots of different countries because his dad worked abroad, and so he was always traveling. So we had never met. And it turned out that we were both going to be at graduate school in London at the same time. So we got an email to both of us from his grandmother saying, I can't believe you two have never met. Our families are great friends. You're going to be at the same school in London. You should try to meet up with each other. I think you'll like each other. And she was right. That was 22 years ago this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
But what are the odds?
It was just this amazing coincidence that we both happened to be there. But now maybe it was destiny, I think.
It was destiny.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
was it.
our grandmothers, who were best friends their whole lives, ended up sharing great grandchildren, which was like such a special
Well,
thing.
it's so special for them too. Yeah. So, and how often did they get to see them?
We would come. So we moved overseas in 2008. And so our twins were born in London, and now we live in Scotland. They've never lived anywhere except the UK. But we try to make it over to Miami at least once a year. I come over more sometimes if I can swing it. So they did get some good quality time with the kids before they both passed away.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have another book you're thinking about writing?
I'm always, I love the idea that you can just sit and make up a story in your head and then other people will want to read that and talk to you about it is still just the most amazing thing in the world to me. So I have another novel that is on submission right now, which means different editors are looking at it.
Really?
Which is exciting.
Okay.
Yeah. Which takes place in Miami, in fact. And it
really?
was so
well,
fun
that's
to
always
write.
fun.
It was so fun to write. I was in my head. I was driving through the streets. I was in the Gables. I was in Little Havana. I was all over the place. I was at the Marine Stadium. There's so many like Miami deep cut locales in this book for people that are local. They're going to love it.
I just finished a book last night, and it takes place in Miami and in around. But they refer to size and different people that are different places than the location, and so you can visualize it. So it's
nice.
fun.
And Miami's a city that everybody always wants to know about and read about and hear about. And all those things.
Yeah. I have people tell me that when they say they're from Miami, they just go crazy. Yeah, because Miami is like Florida for them. People have no idea.
Once we were in Liverpool, this was before the kids were born, and I was in a dressing room. I was like trying on clothes at a clothing store. We had gone for the weekend, and some women in the other dressing room overhear my accent, and they're like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm from Miami." And then they were like, "Do you know the Kardashians?"
Oh my God, I know. That's
yes, they're my next door neighbors. No,
sure.
But it's such a glamorous image. So especially in the UK, people love when they hear I'm from Miami.
And it's so big. I mean, it is. I mean, we're bigger than a lot of states.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Or countries even. So people don't have a feel for that.
No, they don't. They don't really understand.
No, they don't understand. So tell me, what do you think your kid's going to end up doing?
Gosh, that's such a good question. Because in the British system, they have to decide
we were talking
very
about that.
early.
Yeah.
So next year, they decide what exams they're going to take. And the exams kind of then set you on a track into what you're going to study in college. So had I been 14 years old and having to decide what I wanted to do, I think I would have put like marine biologist or pop star.
Well, you did go to Mast Academy.
I know I did go to Mast Academy, so that's why the marine biology.
Yeah, right.
But so I don't know.
Pop star. Was that with the other one?
Of course. My first internship that I did was I worked on 2 musicals on Broadway and off Broadway because I've always loved musicals.
Outta here.
And that to me was like the dream, like my calling, like what if, that was my what if, my main what if.
Wow.
What if I was going to be somehow involved in musical stardom? So I started by just sitting in the
do you sing or do you?
I do sing, but for fun. Yeah. Not for pop stardom.
Yeah, right.
In the shower.
I sing in the church choir, but I always say I'm not the soloist. I'm backup.
I sang a cappella in college.
Oh, well, that's good.
Which was fun. And we were talking about the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which happens every August in Edinburgh where I live. And for several years, I was part of a choir that did only Broadway shows. And so we performed at the Fringe Festival.
Oh, yeah.
It was the best.
So the Fringe, let's talk about the Fringe Festival because we had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
And they're going, what the heck? This is world famous.
The number of people that come to Edinburgh like you in August and are like, why can't I get a hotel room? We're like, well, because there's millions of people in the city. But it's not just the Fringe Festival. It's actually 6 or 7 different festivals that happen at the same time.
The castle.
Yes. So there's the tattoo.
The tattoo.
Which happens at the castle, which is so weird to explain, but like the coolest thing in the world. It's like a big show of like bagpipes and snare drums and military bands and storytelling and fireworks. Like I don't know how to describe it, but it's the best.
I knew about the tattoo because I was in the Junior Orange Bowl, and we were part of the International Festivals and Events Association. Okay. So people involved with different festivals from around the world would come for an international convention once a year.
Oh, how cool.
So I found out about, the tattoos, but I'd never heard of the Fringe Festival. And I go, there's a festival I didn't hear about?
I know. Well, there's the International Festival, the Fringe Festival, the Book Festival, which I'm on the board of now. So that's
really?
I love them all, but the Book Festival is my favorite.
Of course.
And then we've got the tattoo. There's an art festival, Fringe by the Sea. So the whole city is just alive.
I know.
With art
Every place
music.
we turn, they were trying to get us to come in and watch a show. It was nuts.
Yeah, you can't get away from them, actually, in August.
I remember going out and and in the middle of the night, my son-in-law was looking for a ping pong tournament someplace, and he went off on his own, and my daughter and I walked into this area, and there was music, and we were dancing and having the best time. Yeah, but so I've good.
It is such a
experience.
Great time of year.
But that's it. My husband always said, "Oh, we go back here in a heartbeat."
Well, you have to come.
Yeah.
Now you know somebody there.
Oh, there you go. Oh my gosh. Yes. So I'll put it on my bucket list.
Perfect.
One more trip, right? So tell me, what else can you tell me about the book that I want to read?
Someone's got to give.
Okay. So give us one little story.
Okay.
That you think is.
Oh, that's pressure. Okay. Well, the book is about a woman named Lucia, who, now that we've talked about my experience, you're going to think this is basically just like a thinly veiled autobiography, but it's not. It is a novel. But Lucia is a lifelong fundraiser, dedicated workaholic, living in Austin, Texas, when she meets a dashing British man and falls madly in love. And she finds herself at the beginning of the book living in London. She's got an 18-month-old. And so she's navigating life as a mother and as a wife and as an expat. And she kind of doesn't know what her purpose is. She's lost. And she manages to get a job at a very posh London private bank, advising the rich and powerful on their philanthropy and their giving and how to do good. And so
you had you already had the background.
I did have a little bit. Yeah. I did have a little bit of that.
I know, but that makes it so much more interesting.
Well,
because you know what you're talking about.
I don't know that you could really write an accurate book about that world if you haven't lived and breathed it. Because some of it is so weird. Is so weird. So the book is full of stories that I have mostly made up. But of course, you pull different emotions and feelings from real life. But one of my favorite kind of sections of the book is that Lucia gets to go off to a philanthropy conference on this private island owned by a very wealthy Australian philanthropist, completely fictional. She goes to the Caribbean for this philanthropy conference where they're talking about, water and sanitation and hygiene and international development while they're eating caviar and toasting champagne. And there's a DJ on the beach playing, whatever. People are dancing till all hours of the morning. And it was so fun to write that section because I have been at events like that, super glamorous. There's an A-list pop star performing. Everybody is dressed to the nines, but also people are donating huge amounts of money to good causes. And so it's this real kind of tension, I think, that exists for a lot of people that work and live in the space where you know how much need there is and you see how much money is being raised, but you also see how much is being spent. And you're kind of like, how do I feel about this? But also these sheets are really soft and this swag bag is so nice. And it's just like, it was so fun to write. Every little detail in that section was really fun, really fun to write.
Yeah. No, I've been to a lot of galas, and oh my God, yeah. And I've seen, at one gala I saw them raise $1.5 million. Yeah, and they go, well, we want to reach this thing, and we'll start the bidding at 50,000. Here we go.
Yeah, and it's really amazing, and I think that it defies a simple explanation. And there's really this is always the right way to do it, and this is always the wrong way to do it. And, I think fundamentally what I have found in 20 years working in this world is that everybody comes into philanthropy with really good intentions. People mean well. They want to do good. They want to help others, but they don't always execute that in the right way. They're not always doing good, even though they're meaning well.
It's hard to give. I tell people, giving money away is a job. It's not easy, and I don't think people realize that. Yeah, that you really have to do due diligence when you're giving money away too, because you don't know. You have to make sure you know where the money is going, how it's being spent.
It's a very professionalized field. Yeah. It's certainly developed so much in 20 years since I've been doing it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But it's also, I think, a place where people don't always apply the same standards that they do. So, for example, if you were investing in a business, and one of my favorite things actually about the book is all my little bugbears that bother me in this field, I put them in as little Easter eggs.
Oh, right.
So I have one great scene where there's someone kind of, talking about what I have always seen as a really common misconception in the space, which is that just because a nonprofit is paying its staff, people will say, well, I don't want to pay for staff salaries. I don't want my donation to go to the staff. I only want it to go to the program.
Oh, that's terrible.
Which is awful, because who's running the programs if not the staff? There's no one to do it.
Exactly.
And so these are like little things that I put in. But I meet people so many times who are like, well, you know, they kind of assume that because philanthropy or nonprofits, it's about doing good, that you don't apply those same standards that you would to a business. If you were investing in a business, you wouldn't say, okay, you know, I'm only going to give you money to buy these 3 technical pieces that you need, but you can't actually pay the staff that are going to install them. And you can't do these other things. You can't keep the lights on in your office. You can only use it for this. Nobody does that in business.
Right.
But in nonprofits, people just sort of assume that like, oh, well, everybody means well. And so whatever I say is going to be right. And I know a lot about this other thing I made my money in. So I probably know a lot about, you know, global hunger too. And you might not. So nonprofits are doing such incredible work every day. They are the lifeblood of our cities. They are the lifeblood of our countries. We need them.
Yeah.
And part of what I wanted to do with this book was just show how much I love them and what great work they do. And on the other side of the spectrum, these people that are giving away money, they are often doing it from this really incredible place of generosity. And sometimes it's also funny how they approach it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But what was I going to tell you about that? I'm having a. I'm trying to remember when you were talking. I thought of something else I wanted to ask
CEO
you.
salaries. Oh my gosh, I know.
Oh, the CEO salaries. You know what? No. When I first got into philanthropy, I didn't have your degree in economics from, you know.
Well, I mean, I studied women's studies, so I don't know that much about economics.
But then you got a little more educated on that. So it was kind of a new field for me for community foundation, because I was hired and not even my board of directors knew what a community foundation could do. It was kind of a new concept. So it was like I learned about it and then had to share it and bring people in to help us figure out what was going on. But I noticed that sometimes people give money and don't know. They want their name on a wall. They want something. And so you had to figure out how to deal with those people who are completely different than the ones who want to donate anonymously. Yeah. So you've got, you know, and some people treat the donation not as a donation, but as a marketing tool. So if it's a marketing tool, they want their name on a building, you know, the Kasaya Center, all that stuff. Fine. You know, that's what, you know, that's okay. So they shouldn't be, you know, kind of criticized for it. But
they are sometimes. I think
exactly.
People come to this space, and this is something that I loved writing about, and all of these little challenges I loved throwing Lucia's way in the book, which is that, you know, people come to this space with all kinds of motivations. Some people want to give because they feel very religious, or they feel that there's some, you know, greater good that they want to give to, and they feel really personally moved. Some people give because they want their name on a building, or they want the seat at the table at the gala next to their business associate. And from a personal perspective, I don't care why people are giving as long as they're giving.
That's what
I think most people who have ever been in a fundraising world feel the same way. Like,
we don't care.
Exactly. We just you know, the why almost doesn't matter, but giving is so personal. It's about your money, your family, and your legacy, and nothing is more personal than that, truly. People come to it with very different reasons, in the same way that they approach money and family and legacy. And I think that's okay. Like, we don't need to be so purist about why people are giving. The most important thing is that they're giving.
Exactly. So believe it or not, we're almost out of time.
No.
Yes. So we could talk after.
Nobody else gets to listen, but you and I get to do it.
Right. Exactly. So again, the name of your book, the two books.
So my memoir is My What If Year.
Your What If Year.
Someone's Gotta Give is my novel.
Yeah.
Both are available widely, especially at your local independent bookstore.
Yes.
If you're in Miami, maybe go to Books and Books, where I worked as a teenager, and my favorite bookstore in the whole world.
Yeah. I can't believe Mitch Kaplan hired you at 14.
I can't believe
That's
it either,
crazy.
honestly.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
crazy.
think he came to regret it, but they wouldn't even let me. I couldn't touch the money at 14. I was doing inventory in the
not.
children's room. That's what I did. It was
yeah.
the best job in the world.
Oh yeah, you get to play with them.
I got to play with all books. I got to, and then I made no money that summer because I bought everything every time I got a paycheck, I just bought whatever books were coming in, knew that I wanted to read. So
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, that's like being in a dress store and the same thing happening.
you
You know?
never end up with a paycheck.
Oh no! I remember some of my friends would go to work for a store, and they say, "But you have to wear our clothes because when you go to work, you have to wear our clothes."
Oh, yeah.
We'll give you a discount, but you still
have to wear them.
They didn't make any money.
No, but they were very well dressed.
They were well dressed. Yeah, exactly. So I thank you so much for coming today.
Oh, thank you
Carlos,
for having me,
Carlos.
Carlos. Thank you for being here.
And Anzoni, our producer, thanks for taking care of us
you.
today. And lastly, but certainly not least, South Florida PBS, thank you for sponsoring the show. Everyone, I hope you all have a great holiday season. Happy Christmas. Kwanzaa's coming up, New Year's Eve, New Year's,
Yep.
and you're here through it all. So
That's right.
have a great time in Miami.
Thank you so much for
You're
having
welcome.
me.
And thank you so much for coming. Until next time, be safe,